Welcome to the Artist Loft, the talk show for all artists. Join us each show as we spotlight a variety of different creatives, hosted by the Florida Arts Network, with Richard Sosa and Frank A. Ruffolo.
Hi everybody! Welcome back to the Artist Loft. I'm Richard Sosa.
Frank Ruffolo.
And we are back here to talk about all things art.
All things art, all things entertainment.
Yeah, and you know what? I really need to stop watching myself on the TV because the delay totally throws me off. I'm saying something and then it happens like a couple of seconds later.
Well, that's your narcissistic tendencies. That's just there.
Wow! My narcissistic tendencies. Look at this.
There it is.
You like this? You see what I have to deal with?
Yep.
All the time?
Have
Oh
to
my
deal with
gosh.
all the time.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, we've got a great show here today. We have Kimberly Douglas over here. Yeah. Producer, founder of Flow Film Festival, and you got all kinds of things going on.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So so why don't you tell us a little bit about all the stuff that you have going on? I want to talk a little bit about how we met and all this other stuff, and so go for it.
Yep.
Okay, well,
You got the camera.
Richard said, I am the founder and executive producer of Flow Film Festival. Flow is a festival dedicated to celebrating women in production behind the camera. And every year we have our festival and we take the winners from that festival and guarantee them distribution. Now, this is going to be our 5th year, starting February 29th, because it's a leap year, so we're taking that day from the leap year.
That's
and
awesome.
We're going to coin it, that's ours. And it runs about a week. And we had such a great season last year that we've kind of just been running in all directions, right? So that's all the stuff that's going on. So we've started a bunch of different projects as far as producing films now, licensing music, supporting the artists, obviously, walking them through contracting, stuff like that with the distribution effort. And we have just now also kind of secured different venues because some of the places that Flow has been fortunate enough to grace for award ceremonies or opening ceremonies, they're quite remarkable. So we've just started acquiring more of that so that we can, keep any venue that we want to use in the future.
Yeah,
So,
Jazzy's Hideaway was one of my, oh my gosh.
Jazzy's
what
Hideaway.
A venue that is.
The Chateau, yes.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Well, Kimberly is one of the most go-gettingest persons that I know that's not really a term, but
Boy, there's a writer for you.
yes,
He's
I'm
the coach.
coining
He's
it.
the coach.
Yeah, I'm coining it. Yeah, Kimberly and I met, years ago.
Ages
Ages
Feels
ago.
like
through
a lifetime.
Rose Warner.
Yes, God bless her.
Yeah.
That's how I met Kimberly, through Rose Warner.
Yeah.
A lot of people have met people through Rose Warner.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, Rose Warner was such an incredible influence down here in South Florida. She really had a heart for film, but not just film, but film in South Florida, right? Because Florida used to be number 3. It was L.A., New York, and Florida as far as
And we
filming
slipped
goes.
down, yeah. And Rose really has been integral, had been integral in making these connections. Just the 3 of us. It's just a sampling of what she was able to
my
achieve
gosh.
down here, and we've done so much together as a result.
She got me into screenwriting. So
Yeah.
That's incredible. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
incredible.
And she's been gone 5 years yesterday.
Today?
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah,
It's the
yesterday.
anniversary.
Five
Oh my
years
gosh.
yesterday, and her influence is still being felt, and I'm sure it's going to be felt for ages to come because she was a little powerhouse down here.
Right,
Yeah,
and-
absolutely.
And those icy blue eyes, you know, she'd look at you and it's like, oh my
Oh.
God, you're looking into my very soul. You know, it's like,
Yes, yes. But you know, you got to take a note from that because she really had this great ability to like see people. You know, I
Yeah.
never felt even in a huge when the Florida table was huge and there was like throngs of
right,
people.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
Rose would see everyone. Like you know, you've always felt present with her.
Yeah.
So that's something that I really paid attention to because it made me feel good, right? Because everybody has this stamp on their forehead. It's like made me
Right.
feel important.
Yeah.
And she was able to do that consistently, even in a crowd. So that was
Yeah.
something really
and
impressive.
She encouraged us all the time to be not only our best selves, but to do the best that we could for the film industry,
And
right?
be a professional
about it.
and the arts.
Because it was
And
never
be a
about
professional
her.
about it.
No,
you know,
that's
it
right.
was always
Yeah.
about the community. It was never about Rose Warner, and I think that's why she has such a lasting impact. And I think that that's what stays, right? So I've tried to take a note from her book, and as far as you know, bringing these people together, you know, locally with international people, and making real deep connections. You know, like Flow is an excellent platform for that. We have people flying from all
Perfect
over the
platform.
world, and then
Yeah.
engage with our local community, and you know, and bolster our local economy as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, making those relationships is just key.
And like I like the kind of niche that you've got where you're promoting women that in non-traditional roles in the film industry.
Yeah, and you know, it's important because oftentimes the female gaze goes unseen, right? And I think to have great content, you have to have well-rounded content, which means you have to have a variety of individuals behind the scenes that, you know, the characters play their roles, but behind the scenes you have different opinions and different inflections that you can incorporate. I think it makes for stronger content.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think women get enough credit.
Thank
For
you.
what
Thank you,
they've
Frank.
done.
Thank you,
Yeah.
you, Frank.
They don't give enough credit.
Say that again for the people in the back.
So you are giving them credit of what they're doing, which is great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
the thing is, it's like women have a very different perspective when it comes to directing film.
Very true.
Hurt Locker. Look at Hurt Locker. You know, that was a film directed by a woman. But you know, they don't see the characters the same way that men do, and so the character arcs are different.
True.
They're
True.
very different. Sometimes I would say that the character arcs are deeper.
I think so. I think women tend to have deeper conversation just
Yeah.
because like we're allowed to. Number one, I find that, you know, just culturally men are not permitted to be deep. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's an effeminate, if you're a deep male and having these you know, ingrained conversations, it's like a effeminate part of it, and I don't believe in that. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody should be able to speak their truth. So
Absolutely.
I found a lot that in these rooms that I'm now in, you know, because I started off as a model and an actress, and I've done that whole thing. And now, you know, I do the festival thing, and I still produce and direct and stuff like that. But like, oftentimes in the room, I'm the only woman. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's the whole thing thrust behind Flow. It's like, can we get some more women in these rooms so we can be supportive of each other? Because as a woman in a room full of men, it can be very daunting to find and hold your voice and hold that space
And
of
you
relevance.
do it very well.
Now,
God,
let-
Frank, man.
Let me,
Fluff me up, Frank.
so now let me ask you something. As a woman in this industry, do you feel like you have to you feel like you have to work like twice as hard as a man does for the same kind of credibility, or which I think is like ridiculous, but I hear that a lot.
See, in some ways, yes, because if you want to tier it by like importance, right, and not general importance, like as far as like, you know, the big studios versus the independents versus whoever. In any space that you can make yourself position yourself to be heard, it's noted, but it's not always embraced. And I think that's the issue, right? So
Yeah.
I have a certain name for myself in the indie world, right? The studios know, but that doesn't mean they're gonna hire me because of that. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
you're kind of, do I have to work twice as hard? Not so much, but you definitely have to hold your own. And how do I get from where I am? And I wouldn't say it's the next level really, like, but to a different level, right?
Yeah.
Where my relevance has more reach. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or I have influence in spheres that I'm not physically present in. Like that's, I think, part of the challenge, because, you know, if you're a small guy, male, let's say director in an indie project, the studios take notice and be like, hey, let's pluck that person out of obscurity, you know, and include them. That doesn't happen so much with women. They're like, oh, you have your little thing over there, good for you, you know? So,
Yeah.
I think just being able to reach across and dip into every pot, you do have to have like a certain amount of gravitas to be able to do that, but it's much more difficult to be embraced. That's all I'm saying.
And you have literally put Flow on the map. Right?
On the Hollywood map.
On the Hollywood map.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. For the next 2 years too, we have our logo and adverts running in the map for the city of Hollywood.
That's good.
Which is awesome. I love the way you put that. You made it sound like, that was right. I did that. That was awesome.
Put on the map.
That's right. That's right. And so now the it's coming up on February 29th.
Yes, we open February 29th.
Yeah. And I expect to be working hard during the lead-up.
You better be.
Because we're actually on each other's board of directors.
Yeah, so I'm on Fans Board. I'm very fortunate to be able to come together with Richard and Frank and like-minded people that support the arts. And Richard's been on my board for quite some time. I courted him very early in the development of Fan because Richard is such a staple in our community. Like, you can't be in the filmmaking community in South Florida and not know Richard Sosa or have heard of Richard Sosa. So it's kind of like, it just goes with the flow that I would bring you on board.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Unintended.
Yeah. The problem is, you know, it's not. Is it good? You know what they hear. You know, I hope
It's all lies. No, I'm kidding. It's all lies. I know you better.
You know,
Any publicity is good publicity.
I know, right?
I've
There's no
heard.
such thing as bad publicity.
No
That's
such
what
thing
they
as bad
that's what they
publicity.
say, you know. And you know what the thing is that I have a heart for the industry down here. I have a heart for film. I have a heart for kids.
Yes.
You know, I
Yes.
love kids and I want them to have the same opportunities that I had when I was
Exactly.
growing up in New York.
Exactly. I mean, even the same opportunities that I had when I was coming up here. And I think it's so important to reach back and mentor. Like, it's not just about, giving them the opportunity, but mentoring them so that they can go beyond you, you know what I mean, during their tenure, which only increases, their reach and their grasp and them being able to bring other people. But, there's a lot of people in corporate film, let's say that, that kind of like they have their little clique and that's it. They're not bringing anybody up through the ranks until they're looking for successors because they're dying out. You know, it's a last ditch effort.
Yeah.
It's not like you've spent years grooming someone through the process. You know what I mean? It's like, I got somebody, let's train them up real quick and throw them in the ring. I think that the earlier you start with them, just like with everything else, it becomes more natural, right? So my kids are very young, but they're already well steeped in the industry, and they may not choose to continue that. Their love may be somewhere else. Right now, they're just my minions, so they don't have a choice. But but starting them young, they're very relaxed in this environment now.
Yeah.
They're accustomed to being in studio. They're accustomed to the conversations like this one that we're having. It's a little while with them here, but this kind of conversation is not above their heads. You know what I'm saying? So when you get somebody young that has some talent and you see that, instead of being, that's my competition, go to that person and help guide them through the ranks so they can avoid the pitfalls that you suffered, right?
Yeah. And sometimes, it doesn't require that much to encourage somebody.
No.
I remember 14 years ago or so, 15 years ago, I was teaching an acting workshop in Puerto Rico. And I met this one girl. She was 16 years old at the time. Her name was Jernes Corchado. And I saw something in her. And I encouraged her. And we connected on Facebook. And, I came back here. And she would, message me every once in a while. Hey, I'm going for an audition. What do you think? Or I'm doing this. And I kept encouraging her. And a couple of years ago, I was watching an episode of The Blacklist. And she was the one that they were going after. She was like the lead, and I was like, oh my God, called her right away. She's like,
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So, and I think we're going to be breaking really quick, very short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Ever needed a good read? Maybe a book to keep your mind off things. Frank A. Ruffalo is an internationally known author and accomplished screenwriter. He's written many successful novels with amazing stories. Fiction adventures like The Lady of the Harbor, The Trihedral of Chaos, Gabriel's Chalice, 10048, and many more. For more information, visit www.frankaruffalo.com, or you can find Frank Ruffalo on Amazon.
And we're back, guys.
Yeah. Told you it was going to be quick. Thank y'all for just hanging out and waiting for us to come back. Really appreciate you.
Got redneck Richard
All
now.
right. I know, right? Yeah, right here, baby. Bless your heart.
I love you, man. Yeah, but you're right about the encouragement thing, and a lot of times it doesn't take a lot to be consistent, and sometimes it's not even keeping up with it. It's just sometimes you plant a seed in someone and it takes root. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when they come back to you for validation or they come back to you for guidance, just that being that presence that's like, keep going.
Yeah, and a lot of my old students, they know that even if they stop taking classes with me because, life happens or they're moving on to something else, or whatever, they know that they can still call me. I have students that, have called me, like 10 years later, they're still calling me, hey, Mr. Richard, this and that. It's kind of weird though, because like some of them, were like 9 when I started working with them, and now they're in college, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm not aging. How are you doing it? Like it's.
Well, that's why we wanted to start. That's why me and Rich started the FAN. We wanted to get to the youth and encourage them to get into the arts and help them proceed with that project. If we hope to eventually supply scholarships and grants and workshops, if there's a child out there that wants to get into an instrument but he can't afford the instrument, we'd be willing to make it possible for him to learn the instrument.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
This is what we want to do. We're mentor the kids to get them into the arts, and like you said, if they decide not to at a later life, but that's fine. But at least they've got into it.
Yeah, they had the opportunity and the exposure. And I know it's one of things to your huge chagrin, Rich, that, our society doesn't value artists.
Yeah.
It really, like they like the entertainment, but they don't value the artist.
Yeah.
And, but that's why, like you said before, and you've said repeatedly, when there are cuts in funding, the first thing to go is the creatives and the arts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of kids that don't have even the opportunity. Like, if you've never seen an instrument, how do you know you want to play one?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And just like that, it's gone.
And I think part of the problem is that people don't really realize the work that goes into developing that art. Actors, they're like, art. I've had people approach me and it drives me absolutely insane, which is a short drive for me anyway. But, like I'll have people at networking events go, hey, Rich, I have this niece, she's really pretty, maybe she can be an actress. And I'm like, or not.
Is she a hard worker?
Yeah.
Is she dedicated? Is she consistent?
I had this one woman come up one time. She goes, are you Richard Sosa? I said, yeah. She goes, yeah, you were recommended to me for coaching, and I have a 12-year-old daughter that, wants to go into acting and everything. I was wondering if maybe you could work with her. So I started asking some questions, has she ever acted before, all this other stuff. And then the mom looks at me and goes, how many classes do you think she will need before she's an actress?
Oh my God.
And I looked at her and I go, well, you know Meryl Streep, right? She's like, oh my gosh, yes, she's amazing. I said, yeah, she's won like every award that you could possibly win as an actor and all this other stuff. She goes, yeah. I said, do you know that she has 2 private coaches that she still uses on a regular basis? She's like, really? Exactly. And then she's like, oh. Bing! And I mean, yeah, because there's so much, just character development.
But the development never
improv,
stops. It
script
never
analysis,
stops.
all this thing, improv. You know, and you've been on TV. You've been an actress. You know.
It
what
never ends. It never ends
No,
because
it
it's
doesn't.
constantly evolving. And if you don't feed your talent stagnates.
It
So what are
does.
you gonna do? You'd be like, oh well, I. At what point do you say, well, I'm good enough?
Yeah.
Don't want that role. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna prepare for that one.
Al Pacino, when he's not filming, he's doing theater to stay sharp.
Yeah.
Just
They're
boy,
all
let me tell
doing
you,
it.
theater will keep
Theaters.
you sharp. I did
Woo-hoo.
musical theater for like 25 years. Boy, let me tell you.
I did one show and I was like, I'm good. I'm good. One live show is all it took. I'm like, I think I'm gonna stick to like where I can actually like do scene repeats and take multiple
And then-
takes.
and then that's the pitfall if you become an actor and you decide to go after one type of character role.
Yeah.
Then you get
Typecast.
pigeonholed into
Yep.
that character role.
Yeah.
Unless that's what you want to do. Like, look at Robert De Niro, right? Robert De Niro has developed a character. So when people think of like, gangster, mafia boss, this kind of thing, who are they going to think of? They're going to think of Robert De Niro right off the bat. So there's something to that.
There's room for that, but his acting never gets worse.
Yeah. But I'm a character actor, right? So
You're a character, period.
I'm a character, period. Yeah. So I like to do a lot of different types of roles, whether, everything from, comedy to, a hitman or, whatever, and everything in between. So I just.
Well, you're fortunate to
love
have
it.
that opportunity. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot. There is something to be said what Frank was saying about if you have this one role and you get typecast and pigeonholed into that. But a lot of times your appearance, like you end up there. That's very difficult as an actor to get out of that space
out of that.
because
Yeah.
They
they
wanna do
see you,
something
they
else,
see
it's
this,
very hard.
and you
Yeah.
want to do something else. They're like, no, but you're this, and it's like, no, but I'd like to be something different, and they're like, no, this,
Yeah.
this is what you do. So you kind of like
Yeah.
accept it and go with it, and hopefully, make it financially worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if I'm going to play this and I'm going to perfect this one role, you got to pay me for it.
Yeah.
And
Or you do like Jennifer Lawrence. After Hunger Games, she started taking on all kinds of different roles
Yeah,
because
that was
she didn't
smart.
want to be typecast.
Yeah, that was
Which-
really
which
smart. Her
makes-
career is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I love her.
Okay, so now you don't just do the Flow Film Festival. You do other stuff as well.
Is there anything in particular you're referring to that you're dancing
All the
around with
legal
me,
stuff.
Richard?
Yeah, we're only talking about
Well, the
legal
legal
stuff
stuff.
here. Yeah,
Darn
she
it.
can't talk about
Darn
the
it.
other stuff since she was.
That's
in-
half the show.
Yeah, since she got on a witness protection program, she can't talk about the other stuff. But I got Dawn sitting over here just shaking her head like, oh my gosh, Richard should not have Cuban coffee before he does any show, But
Oh, I love it. I
keep
love it.
doing that, So, but you do others. I mean, you produce and all this other stuff. So tell us a little bit about
So I obviously I assist others with their stuff. I'm actually venturing into writing this year, which is going to be interesting. But I have some productions that are coming up, and one is a concert, which I've never produced a concert, but it's in association with a premiere for a film.
Okay.
And we were very fortunate. Well, I was very fortunate to receive word that we had extensive access in Miami-Dade County to just about any venue we wanted. And then I have friends that have content for the school system, and then we got access to their school network. We created it basically. So we're targeting the kids, right? We want them to come out. We want them to be exposed to this stuff, and get them in the rooms where people are doing it,
Yeah.
and we're instead of, whether or not you have funding for the thing, if it's running through the classroom and you see it and it sparks that want in you, right? You
Yeah.
can go looking for it, and then you say, well, who's that person I saw, or who's, that, and come and find us. Say, come find us,
Yeah.
because we will not turn you away. Like, yeah, you're interested because you saw some random thing in your
Very
class.
good.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
Let's go. So, yeah, we're
And if
working
you
on
need
that.
some help, I mean,
Always need. Are you kidding me? I got 2 of these. I could use a couple more. I got 2 of these.
yeah, you can always call and say, Rich.
I need to pick up the phone and call you more often, honestly, because there's a lot going on. There's like quite a bit.
Sometimes I'm just not feeling the love. I'm
I
like-
know the love is me not enslaving you. Is that what you're saying? You're not on my beck and call, so I'm not loving on you. I will take that as an invitation.
But you need to get a whip, then you'll get his attention.
Ooh.
Well, okay, so
Man, Frank's killing it today. I love it.
I know, right? He drank a big old glass of Haterade. Haterade.
I may be letting a secret out, but you want his attention. Now you know.
I'll make a mental note because I know cake's not doing it. I've tried the cake; it's not working. But yeah, you got to come on board with some of these projects, which are also developing a variety of content, right, to put through the school system. So maybe we can collaborate on something like that that will bring some of what we're doing with FAN, into that space, because you got the production end covered.
Yeah, if you
right?
need any writing help, just let me know.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to lean on you pretty soon here as I venture back. I've never written like for consumption. My writing's always been very private. So I have a friend of mine who is an excellent writer. Yeah, I had a diary since I was 11.
That and ransom notes.
Like
a 30-year diary.
I would pay to read that.
I don't even read it. I just write it, and it's been documented. I'm done with that. Next chapter.
That's funny. Oh my gosh! But yeah, I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you, Richard.
Because like I said, you are such a go-getter. It's like, and you're tireless, for goodness sakes.
I started to think about that this year, actually, because there's so much that happened on the back of this year's festival, and so much I've gotten involved in now. I started to think about this, and I'm just like, why? Like, it's like, why am I doing?
Love it. That's why.
Yeah,
I do, because I love to see people grow in these
That's
spaces. Like, that's my why. But it's like I get tired, I've got a whole other life outside of anything to do with entertainment. So it's like, what am I doing all this stuff where I could be sitting at home with my hands in my pants eating bonbons? Like, why am I, why? I mean, like the real Married with Children just by myself. Like,
I know. Well, I can't believe that we're like practically out of time already. Why don't you tell everybody really quick how they can get a hold of you and
absolutely,
all that
absolutely.
kind of stuff.
You can go to our website www.flow. That's like in Flow FFM, which stands for Film Market. Flow Film Festival and Film Market. So flowffm.org. There's information there on how you can reach out to me. You can email me directly at kimberly@flowffm.org. You can't call me. That may change in the future. But also, if you reach out to Richard or you reach out to Frank, they have direct lines to me on speed dial. And, I'm very interested in anyone who wants to either be part, wants to learn, wants to come and assist, wants to be in an environment where they can meet other people that are well-seasoned in a variety of things that they do. And, if you just want development, really, I can probably link you with somebody that does just about anything, which I'm very, very grateful for. And I'm grateful to you, Richard, for the platform. And thank you for having me on the show. This has been an amazing experience.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here.
And we'd like to announce we have a networking event coming up on September 6th. It's a Wednesday night at the Hilton Rooftop in Pompano Beach. That's free. Come on out from 6 till whenever they kick us out. And we have our award show coming up on October 24th at Savor Cinema. And we will be releasing more information on that very shortly. We're going to be awarding the best music video for production and performance.
Yep. So the next one coming up is September 6th.
September 6th.
It's a beautiful venue. Be there. It's not just a networking event. We're also celebrating my birthday.
Yep.
Happy birthday!
Yay! Another trip around the sun, right?
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
See, I took his one-liner.
Yeah. So come on out. For information on what we're doing, if you want all the details on our events and everything else, go to floridaartsnetwork.org fan-events. We have a tab. We just go to floridaartsnetwork.org, and we have different tabs for stuff that we're doing, stuff that our partners are doing, all kinds of stuff like that. So go on over. You can also get a hold of us through the website as well. So, and we want to hear from you. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for advertisers. We're looking for guests for the show. So
Right.
reach on out.
And hit our GoFundMe page on our website and help us produce this show and help us get us going.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Artist Loft. Make sure to tune in next time for another great show. A show that was produced by Amp Media Productions and hosted by the Florida Arts Network with your hosts Richard Sosa and Frank A. Ruffolo.